Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with Dragon Link once again. This is a deck that I am definitely trying to get better at. Because let me tell you something, even before Wyverburster got banned, I was not the best D-Link player. I'm going to be the first and foremost to admit that. Dragon Link is that deck that I always felt like I needed a little bit of extra help with. And indeed, in the last video, you all definitely in the comments section were very helpful with suggestions for the build. So thank you very much for that. The big thing that I was missing, and it's funny because I was actually complaining during the last deck profile that I didn't feel like, you know, our build had enough starters, right? And so we have added the 3 Black Metal Dragon. You know, I think what it is for me is that in the past, this was considered a fairly optional card for Dragon Link. And so in my brain, I kind of have it like with that same mentality of like, oh, I could play Black Metal, but I don't have to, so I won't. But no, I think as time goes on, this card becomes more and more necessary, especially, I mean, with the limitation of the Wyverburster, because even though it did come back, it is still, of course, only at 1 copy. So without being able to play multiple Wyverburster and Collapse Serpent and have that be good, I mean, we could play multiple Collapse Serpent, but obviously, we still only have the 1 Wyverburster. So, yeah, the Black Metal Dragon is nice. You can normal summon it, link off into the Striker Dragon to, of course, add the Boot Sector launch. Then the Black Metal Dragon also activates, adding a Red Eyes card from deck to hand. Now, we have 2 different options for extenders that we can actually go into, or that we can search for, rather, off the Black Metal Dragon. The first of which is our Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. For Yugi boomers like myself, you'll definitely recognize this card when you see it. I still remember when this card first came out in GX era and just how absurdly broken it was at the time. It's kind of wild because this very much reads like a relatively modern Yu-Gi-Oh card even nowadays, and it's still wild to think this card came out in like 2006 or 7 or something crazy like that. But anyway, so for that we have the Red Eyes Darkness Metal, which is nice. You can banish a dragon, of course, from your grave. Or sorry, you control rather to special this, but if you're looking to extend into your main combo line, you're actually going to want to go for the Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon a lot of the time. And I know, this is not new tech for Dragon Link. I'm just casually catching up with everybody else. So again, thank you for bearing with me as I do catch up with everyone else. But yeah, for those who don't know, the Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon can be special summoned by sending any level 5 or higher normal monster from your hand, or more importantly, deck to the graveyard. Then you special this from the hand. You also get a level boost of 1, but that doesn't really matter as much. So it can be literally any level 5 or higher normal monster. It does not even have to be a dragon. For that reason, we can simply dump off the Cyframe Driver, which is very nice because Gamma can still pull Driver from the graveyard to activate its effect. So it's not even like you're giving up your Gamma plays in order to you know, have this extender. In fact, the extender really just is all benefit because it's milling a very, very bad top deck from your deck when it comes into play. So and then from there, you know, once you have the Red Eyes Black Meteor and the Striker Dragon in play, you can link those 2 off from Romulus. Romulus grab Ravine, bada bing, bada boom. You know how it goes from there. So that is kind of the idea behind that. You could also play, if you wanted even more starters, and I almost did. You could also play the 1-for-1 in order to grab out the Black Metal Dragon from deck if you don't open it. Yeah, we're up to 50 cards. We were on 46 in the last build. I know one of the cards that I took out was the second Collapse Serpent. I was on 2. The idea was that, you know, with Starleaf Schaefer, you search Collapse Serpent. Collapse Serpent is summoned and then goes into the Striker Dragon, which then adds Wyverburster. Wyverburster and Striker go into Romulus, and then that can add a second Collapse Serpent to pitch off the Ravine. But really, like, you're not hurting for the discard off Ravine that badly most of the time. There are some hands on turn 1, and we actually have one in one of our games coming up here that we're going to see. There are some turn 1 hands where, like, you do kind of have to, like, throw out your whole hand, especially if you open Ravine, because you don't get the search, and then if you don't have the extra card to discard, well, then you have to give up something that you kind of want to keep. But anyway, again, we'll actually get into a situation where we're getting that here shortly. But long story short, you know, you don't need the discard that badly, and that's really the thing that the second Collapse Serpent is best for, in addition to just opening more copies of it more often. So I think we're fine with just the 1 here. If Wyverburster ever was up to 2, then I will definitely be down to play 2 of each of these cards. I think that is quite good, but with it at 1, I think 1-on-1 is best. I mean, I think I'm playing more hand traps than a lot of other people. I've even seen some builds forego Max C, actually, to keep as low of a main deck count as possible. This is a deck that does regularly hit over 40 cards, but usually hovers around 45. I'm at 50, and like I said, I don't see quite as many builds quite as high up in the main deck count as I am, which does lead me to believe that a decent bit of this could probably be trimmed back again. I suspect some out of the hand traps could be trimmed back. You don't have to play triple tech. You don't even actually have to play cross-out designator, which sounds kind of weird, because it seems like a deck that would be very weak to Max C. And I mean, it definitely can be, but I mean, we have Ash, we have Gamma, we have Callby, we have the ability to pivot into the Hradix Seal. You know, it's really not the end of the world if you get Max C'd a lot of the time. Of course, sometimes it can be, but... what else has changed? Oh yeah, the extra deck. I was last time playing both the Delindrous as well as Triple Burst, and that was mostly, as I think I stated, because I couldn't remember which combo line needed what, but now that I'm at least a little more familiar with the deck, yeah, we just cut the Delindrous and we're only playing Triple Burst. You could play Delindrous if you really wanted to. Like, there are slightly different combo lines you can get into with the Delindrous, but you really only need the triple burst, so I'm just going for the triple burst. And then, like, you're starting to slot in IP, which is nice if you have a couple extra bodies at the end of your combo line and want to pivot into the SP during your opponent's turn. You could also just make SP if you're not playing IP, but of course, having the ability to get the banish off on your opponent's turn, I don't think I need to tell you how good that is. So, yeah. I think, let's see, is there anything else about this particular list I want to talk about? Not really. Again, I do ask that y'all kind of bear with me a little bit. I'm probably going to be making some out of misplays in these games, because again, I'm just trying to catch back up with Dragon Link. That said, if you have any, advice you want to offer for both the build and gameplay, well, that's always welcome in the comment section. Again, as with the stipulation that we're not being rude about it, naturally. But yeah, no. But especially for, again, this in any deck where I'm admittedly not as experienced. Like, if you consider yourself decently experienced in Dragon Link and have any suggestions for both the build and the gameplay, again, just feel free to chime in below. Always welcome, again, as long as we're not being rude. But, yeah, I've yapped enough. I think let's go ahead and just start taking a look at these duels here. Alright, so our first opponent is going to be on Lightsworn Tearlament. But we're going to be taking the first turn, and for the most part, this will be showcasing a relatively standard turn one. But one thing that is a little not great about this hand, actually, is the fact that we opened Ravine, because we would prefer to search this. We also opened Rocket Recharger, which popping this with the Striker Dragon to get, like, to float for the body is, like, decently important. But the way that this hand is played out, like, I don't know, I'm going to kind of have to use it and then banish it as a material. I guess I don't have to, because I do also have the Quick Launch, but I'm going to hold on to this Quick Launch pretty tightly for most of the combo line here. My thought process was that if my opponent tried to nib me out of nowhere or something, I wanted to have, like, some amount of recovery, right? So yeah, like I said, I'm going to use the Recharger as a material for the Striker and then banish it for the Magnum Hut. That means I won't be able to get it out of the banish pile until I'm pulling it out of there with Pisty later. So that does, again, kind of hinder some things I'm able to do, but... Now, even though I already have the Dragon Ravine in hand, you'll notice I'm still going for Romulus anyway, and that's because I need the Dragon Link 2 in order to be able to continue comboing, right? There is also, of course, the Hradix Seal, but I want to save this in case I need it later. Either later in this combo line, again, if I get, like, nibbed or something and have to pivot weirdly, or even later in the duel if it turns out to be a grindy game and I need to use this for disruption. So I recommend that. Even if you do open the Ravine, you should still be making Romulus as part of your combo line anyway. It does suck that we effectively open one less card in hand, and as you can see, now I have to pitch the Effect Veiler here, which is really not ideal. If I had not opened, the Ravine, I could have kept the Veiler or whatever other card I would have played, or opened rather, but at the end of the day, it's not like the biggest deal in the world, so gonna pull the Caliber out of the deck with the Tracer, because again, the Recharger is currently banished. Gonna link off the Tracer with the Romulus to go for the Triple Burst here. One important thing to note is that for Pisty's effect, you do have to summon the dragon to a zone that 2 of your Link monsters are pointing to, right? So you need to make Pisty before you make Triple Burst, because if you make Triple Burst first and then Pisty, the Pisty is going to be in the zone that Triple Burst is pointing to, this one right here, and then Pisty will be pointing here. You won't have a zone that 2 Link monsters are pointing to, so you can't activate Pisty, and then you can't combo anymore. But if you make Pisty in this zone that Romulus is pointing to, then after that make Triple Burst, now you have a zone that both Pisty and Triple Burst are pointing to. So that's how you do that part of the combo line with Triple Burst. That is, again, definitely worth noting there, because I've seen just people that I've played against on ladder screwing up at that part of the combo line before, so. Alright, now we're going into our Boral and a Dragon. From here I can quick launch out the Tracer, and then use Boral to negate my Tracer, and then bring back that Recharger. Gonna sync the both of them for the Boral Savage Dragon. And then we'll use the effects to equip Triple Burst. Getting 3 counters, a nice attack buff. And I'm searching Baldrake here during the end phase off the Magnum Hut. You might expect me to search maybe Druisworn, but I'm grabbing Baldrake because the Boral End is going to bring back a rocket monster. So that gives me potential to not only use the Baldrake, the banish effect for disruption, but then also, send off the rocket monster to get the second effect as well, potentially. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I should be able to do more for using my whole hand here than just like Boral End and Boralode, right? But at the same time, I feel like maybe because I opened Ravine, I had to play it this way, and also the Recharger. But again, one of those situations where if I could have played that turn 1 out better, definitely would appreciate any input there. So, opponent activated Charge of the Light Brigade. They're going to mill Fairy Tail, Snow, Imseti, and another charge, and add the Felice here. So, immediately, I do have the opportunity, if I want to Baldrake the Fairy Tail Snow, but I want to wait on that. I want to see if, 1, my opponent has a better card they're going to end up putting in the graveyard for me to banish, and 2, maybe if Fairy Tail Snow will activate by banishing a bunch of stuff, and then I can get it with Baldrake, so. Alright, now next thing we're going to do is activate the Weiss Lightsworn Archfiend, and although this looks a little bit weird, they're going to try to stack the Felice, or they are going to stack the Felice. I'm actually going to use the Boralode. It looks a little weird to use my Omni Negate so early, but this one play represents multiple bodies on the board for my opponent, which will let them either potentially synchro or go for the Lightsworn rank 4 as well. And I really don't want either of those things to happen. So, also this is a little bit of a 2-for-1 here, right? Because not only is the Weiss negated, but the Felice also got stacked as part of the cost, so. Alright, Dragon Lane is going to get summoned. I'll try to use Regain to bring back the Magnum Hut. They're going to have a call by for it. That's fine. I really don't care about that at all. Especially because the Branded Regain gets to be put it back to get a draw anyway. And my opponent's actually going to concede right there. Which looks like a little bit of an early concede, but at the same time is it kind of makes sense, right? Because after summoning the Dragonling and then using the call by, they have 3 cards remaining in hand. We know one of them is a Weiss, which has already tried to activate and be negated. So that means they have 2 cards left in hand to potentially make plays with. I not only still have the Boral and a Monster Negate, but as mentioned before, I even still have the Baldrake, which my opponent knows about. Again, that could not only eat something like the Fairy Tail Snow out of the yard, but then if my opponent tries to extra deck summon, I could then use Baldrake to banish that card as well. And yeah, I think that, trying to play through all of that with only 2 cards and no normal summon definitely makes sense. There's not really a lot of stuff that my opponent could have here that would allow them to do that. Also, I failed to point this out earlier, but it's also worth noting that I could have potentially gone into the branded, the trap card instead of the regained the spell card to maybe get a pop, but I knew it was going to end with a bestial monster on a field, so I didn't want to have to commit to that, right? I'd rather just the regain to get extra advantage with the body and the draw there. So, all right, there's our first duel, again showing off a relatively typical, I mean, with Dragon Link, it's one of those combo decks where it feels like every line is different, right? But relatively standard turn 1 opening with the Dragon Link deck there. Let's go ahead and see our next game. All right, we're playing up against a 50-card Yubel deck here. That's quite a bit for Yubel. Opponent's maxing out on stuff like Piri's map, a bunch of hand traps, and they're also playing 3 Book of Moon, which is kind of interesting. But all right, they're going to be taking the first turn this time, and we have quite the good going second hand here. Valor, Maxi, Ash, and the Rocket Tracer's not a bad 5th card. But it's going to lead with the Nightmare Throne, and they're actually popping the Spirit of Yubel here. So I'm going to Ash Boss on the Spirit of Yubel, keeping them off of the OG Yubel. Especially because I figure if they're doing this with the Nightmare Throne, they probably have, yeah, Beckoning Beast, or... I thought Samsara had D-Lotus, but Beckoning Beast works too, so... When Beckoning Beast comes down, I'm not only going to Valor it, but I'm also going to use Max C in the same chain link, because I just know the next thing they're going to do is go for the Phantom, right? And sure enough, that is what they do. If they had opening, I guess they could have also linked for Almirage, but... Alright, so... Drawing for turn here, call by is... Not really that great of a draw, as you can see. I just have to kind of pass here, because that's the thing that sucks, right? Call by might not have been bad if my opponent had even one monster in the graveyard, but... Because, like, what I could have done here if they had a monster in the graveyard, right, is normal summon Rocket Tracer, activate Call By, Tracer F to pop the Call By while it's still on the chain link. You can actually do that. Because Tracer is a quick effect, you can actually pop normal spell and trap cards that are currently resolving on the chain link. That would have let me go into an extra dragon monster, which would have given me some amount of play, as it could have either synchroed or linked off from there, right? But... like, I can't just really normal summon Tracer here, because that doesn't battle over Phantom, and I don't have anything, I literally don't have anything to pop with the Tracer, so, yeah, a bit of an unfortunate couple of draws between the Maxi and the draw for turn. Opponent's going to go for the Nightmare Throne here. I'm going to try to Ash Blossom this. Thought they were going to use the Phantom here, which is kind of why I did it at this moment, but they actually don't end up using it. They're going to normal summon D-Lotus. Here, I'll try to Valor. Actually, you know what? This was a misplay. I don't know. Because here's the thing I was thinking, right? I was thinking, like, okay, I can Valor D-Lotus, they'll go to Phantom, I can Call By, and then now not only does that negate that Phantom, but then they can't just go into, set on another Phantom going into my turn, right? The problem with that is that that kind of uses up all of my disruption, like, right now, when I feel like I could have just let them normal D-Lotus, send D-Lotus to the yard by activating and then Called By it. And we're going to see here shortly that that was actually... gonna end up being the correct play to do. Yeah, I Call By the Phantom here. Valor negates the D-Lotus. But my opponent's last card was 1-for-1, pitching the Maxi for another D-Lotus. So, yeah, because they didn't actually activate the first D-Lotus F, they can just go for the full combo here, which is definitely not ideal. I guess what I also... well, but here's the thing. If I would have let... let me think for a second. So, let Phantom resolve, negating the Valor. They send Spirit to the yard. Then I Call By Spirit. I think that would have been better as well. I think I actually just did it in the worst way possible here. So, it's a shame. I mean, we had such a good-looking going second hand there. But then, yeah, we just failed to draw any follow-up. And then, like I said, I think on this turn 3 in particular, I did misplay my hand traps and my Call By here. So... I mean, I feel like this is one of those games where you could, like, very easily find yourself blaming it on Yubel, being like, Yubel is so good, it lets you play through just, like, anything, but, I don't know, sometimes, like, there are hands where it just feels like the deck can do that, but there are other times where I can't help but wonder when people are making that complaint of, like, yeah, you had hand traps, but did you actually play them at the optimal moment? Because, I mean, like I said, I didn't hear. I'm always looking out for new moments there, where I can, you know, learn and figure out where to hand trap better next time, potentially. So, not only are they going to battle here, but they're also going for the Ibli lock. I don't know. You know, I've seen people say that, oh, ban Ibli, ban Ibli. I mean, it's annoying. But, I don't know. I don't feel like it's quite as bad as Sanctifier lock. I wouldn't be opposed to the Ibli ban. Like, I wouldn't be sad if the card got banned, but... I don't, like, super strongly feel it should go, but at the same time, it does just create non-games against certain decks. The problem with Albion Lock is that, like, you know, it's one thing to be able to be locked into everything but, you know, Link summons effectively. It's another thing to be locked out of special summons entirely, or to only be able to special summon, like, gimmick puppet monsters, right? But again, like I said, if Ibli got banned, I would not be very particularly sad about it, so... At the same time, it's like, is a card like Ibli ever realistically going to get banned? Because, like, Ibli has a pretty clear intent in design. Like, Ibli is supposed to go on your opponent's field and lock them out, because it does all that in one card. My issue with Albion Sanctifier is more that the card is doing, you know, something that wasn't really intended to be done when cards like Jowgen and, you know, other cards that lock were designed. Anyway, I've rehashed this argument a million times. And again, as I've said before, I'm not opposed to a Nibbly ban inherently. So, all right. I have one more game for us to see. Let's go ahead and finish off with that one. And our final opponent is going to be on the everything pile. That's Yubel, Snake Eye, Tier Limit stuff. And they're also playing the Necro Faces with the Fairy Tale Snow. So this is a build where if I Max C them, I just get decked out. Thankfully, we didn't open Max C. We're going first here, and we have a pretty solid hand. I've got the Bestial Lubellion for the Magnum Hut. I've got a Rocket Tracer to start my plays off with. I even have the Branded Regained, so I'm feeling pretty good. Gonna normal the Tracer, link it off for the Striker Dragon. Striker, of course, is going to add the Boot Sector launch. From there, I can use Magnum Hut to banish the Tracer. Yeah, it's a shame. I wanted to, after adding in the Black Metal Dragon, I would have liked a game where I start off with that, you know, comboing with that, but just didn't draw it in, you know, my play session here, but maybe next time. All right, Lubellion. I already have Regained, so we'll go for Beast. Couldn't remember in that other game. Branded Beast is the card. It's been so long since I've played anything. Alright, here we get to Romulus for the Ravine. Gotta play the Ravine. We can just pitch Nib here, because I'm not gonna need it. Of course, sending the Abs Router, grabbing the Tracer. We even have an extra Rocket Monster here, which is nice to summon off the Boot Sector launch. Got the Tracer and the Caliber. Tracer's gonna pop the Field Spell for the Recharge. We're gonna, again, first go for a Pisty. And then from there... Oh, you know what? Okay, so here I went into the Striker Dragon for the pop to cycle the Recharger, but I don't think I actually had to do this here. I don't think this actually does anything. Well, you know what? Okay, what it actually did here was it did put a level 6 body on my board, which I'm going to use here momentarily. Because I'm going to use Pisty to bring back the Recharger. Oh no, I just link off with the Magnum Hut. I thought I went into... That must have been a different game. I thought I went into Dissipator this game. Yeah, I don't think I actually needed to do that Striker pop with the Recharge. Again, I feel like... But I feel like I did. I thought you did have to do that. This is just me being rusty with Dragon Link, isn't it? I feel like this hand definitely should have been able to put out a better end board than this. So... Again, if I definitely could have done better, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. Nicely. So, now because I have Branded Beast here, I'm going to add the Duraswarm to potentially get an extra send. Opponent's going to lead with the Snake Eye Ash. I'm going to Regain for my summon as well as Boral End to negate the Snake Eye Ash. So here's the Tracer. Magnum Hut coming back. Magnum Hut F going to activate as well. Alright, opponent's linking off their Snake Eye Ash to go for the Link Haribo. And there goes the Necroface for the Diabell Star. And that, I mean, I saw 60 cards in Snake Eye Ash, so I kind of figured already, but as soon as I saw that Necroface, I definitely knew for sure. So, the opponent has set a Sinful Spoils of Subversion, which threatens to eat my Omni Negate from the Borreload Savage Dragon. You'll notice I've been holding on to my Omni Negate pretty tightly, which I tend to do most of the time, but especially against a 60-card pile deck like this, I definitely want to make sure they're not just going to grass for plays, right? So, they set the Sinful Spoils of Subversion. However, I can actually out this without having to use my Borreload here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to summon my Duraswarm, banish the Nib, use the Regain to put the Nib back and get a draw. Now Beast, send the Duraswarm to pop the Subversion, and then Duraswarm gets to even send the Diabell Star as well. They had OSS, which I kind of figured they did. They're going to go for the Oak here. Oak, I decided to... Well, at first I was going to Valor, and then I remembered as I was discarding Valor, I was like, oh yeah, Link Haribo. But it actually doesn't really matter, because I can just go for the call by here anyway. I'll just negate Oak that way. Not, again, how I planned to do it. I would have liked to have saved that, but for like a tier limit card, or for the Necroface too. But they end up conceding here. And again, we did not end up using our Omni Negate, so there in that situation, they only have 2 cards left. We have an Omni, which makes it very unlikely that they have one card, which is not only going to let them combo off, but play through my board. That one card would probably be Grass, but you know, they definitely don't have 2 copies of grass because that's limited. So, all right, that's going to go ahead and do it for these games. Thanks, as always, for watching. Let's go ahead and just move now to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.